ads, more bills. The stuff in your letterbox probably looks like the stuff in mine. Not very exciting. But soon something pretty important could be landing in this letterbox and letterboxes all around the country. It's a ballot asking people over the age of 18 their opinion on an issue that's been in the headlines a lot lately, whether same-sex marriage should be made legal in Australia. It's a topic we told you about last year. Back then, the government wanted to send everyone to the polls to vote on the topic in something called a plebiscite.
We call on the Labor Party and the Greens, in this case, to support the plebiscite.
So why send a letter in the mail instead? Well, for the government to get a plebiscite through, they needed the support of the Senate. But the Senate said no. Not once, but twice. So now they've turned to their backup option, the postal vote, to find out how Australians feel about same-sex marriage. But there's a big difference between a plebiscite and a postal vote. In a plebiscite, everyone has to vote. But in a postal vote, sending back a response is optional. And while a plebiscite happens at polling booths like an election, a postal vote's done, believe it or not, through the post. Another important thing to remember about both plebiscites and postal votes is that the result doesn't automatically change the law. It just gives politicians an idea of what people think before they vote on it in Parliament. But a lot of people who support same-sex marriage aren't happy that the government is now holding a postal vote on the topic. They say most opinion polls already show that Australians support legalising same-sex marriage. So they say asking everyone again is a waste of money. The postal vote is expected to cost around $122 million.
I'm sure we could go through a whole range of things that $122 million could be spent on. Far better than a vote that is not going to be binding.
Some people are worried that the debate around a postal vote could turn pretty nasty and hurt people's feelings too. But Federal Minister for Finance, Matthias Cormann, says it's important that everyone gets a say.
We trust that the Australian people are able to handle this debate.
And he's promised to work with all parties to make rules that keep the debate fair and respectful. But there is some doubt about whether the postal vote will actually happen. That's because a few different groups are going to court to argue that asking people their opinion in this way isn't legal.
What we'll be arguing in the case is that by going ahead with a postal vote without authorisation of Parliament, the government's acting beyond its power.
Most of those groups would prefer the government to just vote on same-sex marriage in Parliament like they do with other bills. But the PM is confident the High Court will give his plan the thumbs up. If the court challenge fails and the postal vote does go ahead, the ballots will be sent out on the 12th of September. We'll have to return them by November, and a week or so later we'll have our results. Then it's up to the government to decide if and when Parliament will vote on the issue. In the meantime, I am doing something about these bills.